Released their WNBA offseason grades for 2025 with the Indiana Fever coming out on.
History has just been made, and if you weren't paying attention to the WNBA's free agency, you're about to see why this is one of the biggest moves in recent years.
The Fever did not come to play. They are on a mission to win now, like 2025 championship season incoming. They were so quiet during free agency. And in the past 24 hours, boom, boom, boom. Re-signed Kelsey Mitchell to a max deal, picked up Natasha Howard, bringing her back to the Indiana Fever, where she was originally drafted, and then they just announced a three-way trade sending Alyssa Smith to Dallas and Sophie Cunningham coming to the Fever. This team in 24 hours just got exponentially better. Starting five, Caitlin at the 1, Kelsey at the 2, Lexi Hall and Sophie can duke it out for the 3, Natasha Howard at the 4, Aaliyah Boston at the 5.
Caitlin Clark is coming into the league, and ESPN just confirmed that the Indiana Fever dominated free agency in a way that could change the entire trajectory of the franchise. But how did they pull this off, and why are analysts calling this one of the smartest offseasons in WNBA history? Stick around, because what we're about to break down isn't just big. It's game-changing for Caitlin Clark and the Fever.
Let's start with the Indiana Fever because they were awarded the highest grade of an A. So do you guys remember during the Indiana Fever's season when fans and media personalities were saying that they would be surprised if anyone wanted to play in Indiana because of their toxic fan base, because there was problems in the locker room? Well, all of that seemed to be pushed to the side because Indiana Fever has become the destination for WNBA free agents.
If you followed the WNBA over the past few years, you know that the Fever have been stuck in a brutal rebuild, missing the playoffs for 7 straight seasons. But now, everything is different.
The number 1 spot, who to me is the most dangerous roster, is the Indiana Fever. I mean, what? Did they pull this off?
For starters, Caitlin Clark isn't just another top prospect. She's a generational talent, a player who doesn't just bring elite skill but a level of star power that can shift the entire landscape of the league. We're talking about someone who is already being compared to Steph Curry because of her limitless shooting range, elite court vision, and ability to single-handedly take over games. This isn't just another highly touted rookie. This is a franchise-changing player, someone the WNBA has been waiting for to take the league to another level of mainstream attention.
Talk to you about the experience, the champions that have been added to this one.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what everybody talked about when we were in the playoffs last year of, we really didn't have much experience at all playing in playoff games. I don't know what the exact number was, but we really lacked in that area. So just adding pieces of, players that have been in this league, they know what it takes to win, they know what it takes to get to the finals, they know what it takes to win championships, I think is exactly what we needed in our locker room.
For starters, Caitlin Clark isn't just another top prospect. She's a generational talent, a player who doesn't just bring elite skill but a level of star power that can shift the entire landscape of the league. We're talking about someone who is already being compared to Steph Curry because of her limitless shooting range, elite court vision, and ability to single-handedly take over games. This isn't just another highly touted rookie. This is a franchise-changing player, someone the WNBA has been waiting for to take the league to another level of mainstream.
Every person you ask in this league or past teammates that they've had, they only have good things to say about them, and that's the reason all the top teams were going after these type of players, because they know the type of asset they are in the locker room, from a type of player they are, but more so their leadership, their knowledge of the game, how hard they work, and those were the only people that we were going to add to this. So just really fortunate we've been able to get a lot of the pieces that we've wanted. So that just speaks to what we've been able to build here over the course of the last year, but also to the front office and what Steph's been able to do, but also to the players that have, chosen to come here and are excited about it. And it speaks a lot to them too. They want to win and play in front of a lot of fans. And, it fires me up.
So what did they do right? Let's start with the core pieces they kept intact first off. Aaliyah Boston isn't just any young star. She's one of the most dominant post players in the league, and she's only getting started. Boston was already a force as a rookie, winning WNBA Rookie of the Year while averaging double-digit points and controlling the paint with her elite rebounding and defense. Pairing her with Caitlin Clark, that's a dream combination. Think about it. Clark's ability to shoot from anywhere means defenses will have to stretch out to guard her, opening up the paint for Boston to go to work inside. Meanwhile, Boston's ability to command double teams down low will force defenses to collapse, creating even more open looks for Clark to knock down those deep threes she's famous for. It's a perfect duo, one that could dominate the WNBA for years to come.
Practice facility, landing these free agents, and really being all in on women as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible, honestly, and I feel very fortunate and lucky to come here to stay in the Midwest. And, this is the franchise in all of women's sports, I say. No matter what sport it is, they're certainly investing. They see the type of crowds we get. They see the excitement we're generating not only in the state of Indiana, but all across the country. And I think the next few years are going to be amazing for this franchise, and will continue to be for hopefully 10 plus years, and hopefully we win a few championships. But they're investing to help us be really good. So just putting all the right pieces together and doing it on the floor to, return that favor to them. But I'm just really thankful to be here and thankful to all of Pacer Sport and Entertainment, the Simon family, and then obviously Kelly.
It didn't stop there. They went out and added veteran leadership, because if you're bringing in a young superstar like Caitlin Clark, you need experienced players who know how to win. That's where Anna Bonner comes in. Bonner is one of the most respected veterans in the game, a two-time WNBA champion with the ability to score, defend, and provide leadership in the locker room. She's exactly the kind of player who can help Caitlin Clark adjust to the pro level while also giving Indiana another scoring threat on the wing. But that's not all. The Fever also made key role player additions, ensuring that Clark has shooters and defenders around her who can help elevate her game. Let's talk about why this matters so much. Caitlin Clark is an elite playmaker. She's not just a scorer. She creates for her teammates, finding open shooters and setting them up for easy buckets. That's why it was crucial for Indiana to bring in players who can hit those shots. If Clark is driving a lane, drawing defenders, and kicking the ball out, her teammates need to knock down those open looks, and that's exactly what Indiana set up with this roster. They built a team that isn't just good on paper, but one that actually complements Clark's skill set. Compare this to other top picks in recent WNBA history. We've seen plenty of number 1 draft selections come into the league with high expectations only to struggle because their teams didn't put the right pieces around them. Look at Sabrina Ionescu in New York. When she first came into the league, the Liberty didn't have the right roster to support her play style. It took years for them to build a team around her that could actually compete. Or think about Ryan Howard in Atlanta, another number 1 pick with tons of talent. But it's taken time for the Dream to find the right pieces to complement her game. Indiana, they're not making that mistake. They're making sure Caitlin Clark walks into a winning situation from day one. And that's why ESPN just confirmed what a lot of us already knew: the Fever won free agency. Now, let's talk about how this compares to the rest of the league, because not every team had a great offseason. Look at the Las Vegas Aces, the reigning champions, but their free agency moves left a lot to be desired. They failed to add key depth, and their roster isn't as strong as it was last year. While they still have A.G. Wilson and Kelsey Plum, they didn't make the kind of moves that keep a team ahead of the competition. Then there's Dallas, who made some highly questionable signings, including overpaying for players who might not even fit their system chemistry-wise. Things could get messy for them, and they didn't improve as much as they needed to. Meanwhile, the New York Liberty stayed relatively quiet, choosing to keep their core intact but not making any major upgrades. And then, of course, there's the Indiana Fever, who absolutely nailed it. They didn't just get better, they built a team that has a legitimate path to contention in the near future. This isn't just about making the playoffs. This is about building a future powerhouse, and let's be real. Caitlin Clark is about to change everything. She's bringing in millions of new fans, generating more media attention than the WNBA has seen in years, and putting Indiana Fever games on the national radar in a way that we haven't seen before. That's why this offseason was so crucial. It wasn't just about getting Clark. It was about making sure this team is ready to capitalize on the hype and turn it into real success. If you're a Fever fan, this is the most exciting time in years, for the first time in a long time. Indiana isn't just rebuilding, they're building something real, a team that has the right mix of young talent, veteran leadership, and role players who fit perfectly around Caitlin Clark. And honestly, the rest of the league should be a little worried, because if Clark lives up to the hype, and there's no reason to think she won't, this Indiana team could be one of the most dangerous squads in the league within just a couple of seasons. But we're not done yet, because while ESPN has given Indiana the best Grade in free agency, there's still a lot of debate about whether or not this team is truly ready to compete for a title, or if they still have work to do, because while they've already won free agency, the real question is, can they win it all? So we've established that Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever have already won free agency, at least according to ESPN. They've surrounded their soon-to-be superstar with talent, leadership, and depth, ensuring she doesn't have to shoulder the entire load in her rookie season. But here's the next big question: how good can this team actually be? Winning free agency is one thing. Turning that into wins on the court, that's a whole different challenge. There are two major factors that will determine how quickly this team can turn things around. First, how well will Caitlin Clark adjust to the